Welcome back to the 58th edition of the Voices of the Voiceless podcast. This one's especially special simply because we announced breaking news over Twitter. Yes, breaking news over Twitter. I won the lottery. And we're going to be able to get a big studio, professional equipment, haircuts. I just got one, so I beat Brad to the punch, but I'll get another one. Not only that, as I choke on my saliva, that's now worth $1 million. Not only that, but I could have just announced it on the show. Instead, I announced it on Twitter because that makes a lot of sense. So that happened this week. Brad knows I'm kidding, right? You know I'm kidding.
Well, if you won the lottery, if it was about to become your new best friend.
Well,
I'm glad you told me now, so I don't have to waste my time.
That's a good point. That's a good point. But yeah, none of that happened. I did get a haircut though, and it looks amazing. I gotta say, thanks to Lauren at Sport Clips in McCandless, Pennsylvania, who I'm trying to court, Bradley. So that's gonna be an interesting development. I'll let you all know how it goes. But the real discussion we need to have. Do you have that soundboard ready to go?
Oh boy, I guess I can have that ready.
Can you? Well, all right. So I'm gonna filibuster until you have it, because this week that sound is the theme of the week. Since tweets of the week are hard to come by, because I think Brad's blocking all the idiots, so he has nothing to pick from anymore. We're gonna go with the. Here's what I think we should do. I think we should have the sound, like the theme that coincides with what happened during the week. We can use that sound for horrible, terrible, disgusting, awful. Yeah. And that was Monday Night Raw in a nutshell. And not only that, it's basically World Wrestling Entertainment in a nutshell. After everything that's happened, so you know what? Brad, I'm going to leave it to you since this is an informal podcast and we're informal people. What would you like to talk about first? We have the most horrendous decision by wrestling social media of all time. We have, unless you're Mandy Rose and talking about black women, we could talk about Raw and why it deserves to be in a dumpster fire alongside Benoit's body. Or, number three.
Oh my God.
I didn't say Benoit's wife. I said himself. He's the murderer. Number three, we could talk about SmackDown. I think we want to save the best for last because that was the best and that should be last, I would say. So,
well, I think we'll just jump right into the shit show that's known as Monday Night Raw.
I'm drinking during the show. I'm drinking. That's how sad this made me. So where do we begin?
We begin with the beginning, I guess. Yeah. Raw kicking off with probably the most entertaining guy on Raw every week, or maybe the only entertaining guy on Raw every week. Chris Jericho, drink it in, man.
I always do. Always do. Who just announced his fourth book, by the way. Get it, you nerds. I will.
Get it or he'll put you on the list.
Speaking of the list, to be on the on the list for fuck's sake.
Oh, the writers, Vince.
You just made the list.
See, someone was kind enough to send me that video for my phone. Thank you, whoever you are. I think it was a friend of mine. But yeah, Jericho came out, and so did Owens. He didn't have the Owens came out, didn't he? Yeah, he did. Yeah. I already forget. Yeah, I already forget. He was talking about how he lost the list. He can't find it. Blah, blah, blah. There's a triple threat match between Rollins, Owens, and Jericho at the end of Raw. That's a fun ending. Wait till we get there. And he wasn't good. What were you going to say? he wasn't going to wrestle till he had his list back. Steph came out and said, meh, you have to wrestle. It's the main event of Raw. But really, there's 7 main events of Raw. It's the septuple main event.
That's right. We're making history. Every match is a goddamn main event.
So They go back and forth, and then that was it. There was the only continuity to the segment. The only continuity in the entire show was Jericho trying to find his list, which he found. Like Seg 7 with Strowman, but whatever. That should have lasted up to the main event, but I'm not writing it. So that was that. Easily, Jericho is the only entertaining part of Raw, and I'm glad he's there. If Jericho was not on the show, imagine how fucked they would be. He is literally saving them from ratings in the ones on a weekly basis.
Well, he's saving them, but he's also showing them how terrible the rest of the people are on the roster. He outshines them every week. They look like Bush League compared to him.
Oh, Bush League. I like that. I like that a lot. Yeah. So you have notes in front of you. What happened next? Seriously, I forgot most of Raw. I only have 3 parts of Raw that I liked. And I will say them out loud as they come.
Well, speaking of saying it out loud, it's the 2 guys from the New York, New Jersey, Enzo and Cass, who had a few words of their own to say. They came out to the ring, started cutting a promo. Enzo's mic cuts out. Gallows and Anderson interrupt. Gallows says, "You paid off someone in the production truck to cut off Enzo's mic." Enzo goes ahead anyway with a pretend microphone in his hand, and the crowd sings along. This was a good part of the show.
It was. It actually was.
Yep, it was a creative way to get the whole catchphrase over. And get the audience interactive. Smart move.
But guess what? It's not going to matter because they're not going to get a title shot for another 3 months. Sorry to break it to you.
Yeah, this feud is whatever. Gallows and Anderson have no momentum. It's like, Enzo and Cass haven't really been having tag team matches lately. They've been having singles matches.
Why would they?
I don't know.
Because they don't know what to do with them. They don't know what to. No, they don't. They don't. So who won the match?
Okay, so they had a match, and Enzo Amore actually got a win, but the guy he beat is a guy who's been losing every week in singles matches. Carl Machine Gun Anderson, who should have stayed in Japan.
With his hot Asian wife.
Yeah. The finish came when Cass hit Anderson with the big boot from ringside, and Enzo rolled him up from behind for the win.
Wait. This is for Carl Anderson and the whole club.
He's already dead.
The club is dead. Go back to Japan. You've done your service.
The club is closed.
The Breakfast Club is no longer. It's horrible. It's so bad. Good for Enzo. It's gonna lead them nowhere. Whatever. Literally nowhere. And I'm not. And listen, Brad and I, if you listen to the show or you've watched it on YouTube, we're not cynical douchebags who piss on everything. And if you think we are, you're not listening. You're just saying things just to say things on the internet. I know the internet better than you all do. So trust me when I say this. It's just. I sound like Paul Heyman on Raw. It's horrible. It is so putrid. Minneapolis is a good wrestling town. The history, Flair, Lesnar. That's all I got right now. They don't give a shit. Rick Rude. Oh, Mr. Perfect.
Kurt Hennig.
Give a fuck. They didn't even. Marktown didn't give a shit. Whatever. It gets worse from here, folks.
That's right, it does. We have Rusev cutting a babyface promo, and he's a heel. Figure that one out.
I fast-forwarded. I didn't give a shit. Was it a good promo, at least?
Yeah, it was a great promo for a fucking babyface. He basically talked about how Reigns had wronged him, and you felt bad for him, and he was going to get revenge on Reigns at Hell in a Cell.
Well, goddamn, babyfaces and heels.
There's no such thing.
There's no such thing. Yeah. Well, we have Goldberg now. Yeah, whatever. He's not a heel.
God damn. Why aren't they chanting his name? Goldberg. Goldberg.
We even do it for him. Well, okay. Well, so that was that. I heard they did a Roman Reigns Rusev thing throughout the show. I fast forwarded through everyone.
Yeah, they had the New Day come out. They made fun of Sheamus, and they did
That was
the whole
bad.
shame thing again. And
That wasn't bad. It's a Game of Thrones. It's relevant, and it's like it's not a douchey relevant dig. It's Game of Thrones. It's pretty cool. So I'll give them credit where it's due. New Day was good again.
They're all right. They just have jumped the shark for me. Sheamus and Cesaro, of course, because they've got a title shot at Hell in a Cell.
They have to face them the week before.
You had them defeat the tag team champions on the go home show of the pay per view because that's what they do. Sheamus hits the big boot on Big E for the win. Ups.
Was it a clean victory?
It was a clean victory. Yes.
Oh, well, all right. Any interference?
Not really. It was a clean victory.
Oh, well, okay.
You're going to see. I guess we have to do our predictions for this Hell in a Cell show.
Oh,
You're going to see Sheamus and Cesaro lose, and it's going to lead nowhere, and then they're going to go back to irrelevancy. Fun with that, guys.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Bailey, we had Bailey and Dana Brooke in a Oh, no, not a wrestling match. Yeah, that's right. An arm wrestling match, because that's what we want to see women superstars do, is have arm wrestling matches.
I did find a good tweet. Let me see. Oh, wait. Oh, breaking news 11 hours ago on Twitter. Bailey and Dana Brooke rematch this Sunday at Hell in a Cell.
So there isn't a god, is what you're telling me.
Oh, you know what? Vince is gone. What are you talking about? So this is from Brian Alvarez. Good tweet, Brad. Really good tweet. I gotta give him. How is he verified on Twitter? The guy's a shill. Whatever. So Brian tweets, and I quote: "Did anyone on the 2016 prediction show predict? No, fuck Brian. That's what people do. Idiot. Predict that Bailey would be in a segment on Raw and fans would chant boring and this is stupid." End quote. No, Brian, we didn't.
I had an argument days ago with a fan on Twitter about Bailey and how she's being booked. And apparently, I just don't get it. Apparently, it's okay for her to lose every single week, to look like a geek every single week, because it's her journey to getting better in with getting over with the audience. And I'm just like, you know, that's a great story for a mid-card geek like Sami Zayn, not for someone who could be the top women's superstar in the face of your women's division. I just don't even. I mean, they have taken someone that could be basically could be the biggest women's superstar of all time in their company.
Yeah.
And they have totally just fucked her up completely. It's amazing. It's truly amazing. Like, she doesn't even get a big pop anymore when she comes out. I mean, it's just they've squashed her.
But you know what? In 4 months, it won't matter. She'll get a WrestleMania match for the championship. Like nothing.
Yeah, after she's lost 20 matches in a row, it'll be time for a title shot, and you know she'll win that, and then Charlotte wins it, and then Sasha wins it, and Charlotte and Sasha have their 30th feud of the decade because they're the only two women that exist in the division. I mean, I don't even think they've had Summer Rae still been on the show yet.
Nope.
I mean, they just don't know how to book the women on Raw. Everything is basically Charlotte and Sasha with a little bit of Dana Brooke sprinkled on the side, and that's about it.
Makes my head hurt. Makes my head hurt.
And Dana Brooke sucks. That's
she's horrible.
Thing. And Dana Brooke, she's so fucking bad. She does nothing good. I don't find anything she does that's good. And she's so goddamn bad. She fucks every single thing up she does. The crowd was chanting, boring, this is stupid, we want wrestling. I mean, this was... Holy cow. I mean, it's like
what? They don't care, or they're lazy?
And then Bailey does her belly to Bailey, whatever, the suplex, right? The Bailey to belly. And just heads to the back, basically hardly even selling Bailey's finisher. I was just like, fuck this. What a
I almost signed off. I almost just looked and I don't know, man.
Well, then we had Chris Jericho running into Stephanie McMahon. He complains about the list. He can't find it.
Yay.
Stephanie said Jericho's going to have to wrestle in the main event, whether he finds a list or not.
Then
The
you
search
find
for
it,
the list is on. Then you had
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Fine.
No. Well, no. Didn't you find it weird that, like, in the beginning of the show, Steph was like playing like sympathetic babyface? Oh, come on, Chris, please. But then an hour later, we better do it. Damn it! Like, where's the consistency?
Oh, there is none with it. It's terrible. Yeah, you're right. That's an excellent point. It's terrible. There's no consistency. You don't know whether to fucking boo or cheer her. She goes between literally face and heel sometimes in a single segment, much less in an episode of Raw.
Absolutely. And you talked about Bayley losing a ton and then getting a title shot. What happened? You know, what happened to Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens? Sami Zayn beat him in 2 pay-per-views in a row, spanning over 2-3 months in a great feud. Sammy goes to the mid-card. Kevin gets a title shot and the title.
Okay. And wins the title, and Sami Zayn goes into obscurity.
Yeah.
And will soon be squashed by Braun Snowman, the abominable Strowman.
Yeah. It's really funny how that works. It's really funny.
Fucking ridiculous. Back asswards booking for you. Okay, so Curtis Axel, Skull. Salute to the Minnesota Vikings. He comes out in his hometown, says that Bo Dallas betrayed him last week. And every time he steps in the ring, he represents his grandfather, the Larry the Axe Hennig, and his father, Mr. Perfect.
This promo was awesome.
It's the best. I mean, it's the best Curtis Axel promo I think I've ever seen.
Yep.
I liked that they let him have the family lineage, and obviously had the hometown crowd in his favor. So this was actually a little bit of something for me. I was like, okay, it's Curtis Axel. I'm going to fast forward. When I saw, he seemed like he was really fired up, a lot of energy. The crowd started to get into it, so I actually watched it. So,
and were you impressed
for that?
He had so much energy and confidence. Like, that's the Curtis Axel that we should be getting, not dipshit jobber that's on once every other month. And people. So the report came out that yes, his signs in the front row of Curtis Axel were confiscated. All right. The reason that is, ladies and gents, and I hope I'm teaching you something. If Vince doesn't want somebody to get over, he will do whatever he can to not let him get over. For example, Zack Ryder, the Ryder gear, like before Long Island IZ, gone. The signs gone. And all of a sudden, Zack had to do it himself. Sandow, and now Axel. They don't want Axel to get over because they don't have plans for him. What do? Steal signs.
God damn. That chants Skull Axel Skull, but not Goldberg.
Yeah, where's the Roman chants? It's an old practice done by promoters to influence their decisions. And they're stupid, but that's just what's been done for so many years.
Yeah, they're gonna, they don't listen to the crowd. That's what Vince does. He ignores the crowd, so he can push the guys that he jacks off to. Everyone understands that.
Yep.
Okay, so they have a match, and of course, because it's in Curtis Axel's hometown, and he talks about his family, all nice. They just have Bo Dallas go over.
Yeah. You cut an amazing babyface promo in your hometown. You'll lose in 3 minutes.
This was like WCW from like 15, 20 years ago. Congratulations, guys.
Well, you know what? That's what Big Sexy Kevin Nash tweeted about. This pertains more to Lesnar later on. But did you see Kevin Nash's tweet in response to that, by the way?
I'm not sure. What did it say?
Let me bring it up here. Big Sexy Squisher. I hope he didn't do the whole tweet and delete. Here it is. Always have the heel return to his hometown to castrate the babyface. Welcome back, WCW Guy 101. Guess 12 years was too soon. Ladder match? ?
Oh boy, yeah. I'm not surprised. I mean, It's terrible booking. What can you say? They had a chance to give the guy some momentum after he has a good promo, and they just totally squashed it to have Bo Dallas go over him.
Yeah, and
I don't
and
get
like
it. I mean,
said,
they want Bo Dallas. Basically, it's like the whole segment was done to get Bo Dallas heat because he beat the guy that was in his home. It's just like, okay, then what's the point with the whole Axel deal? It's just, god damn, they just don't get it. They just don't fucking get it.
Well, hey guys, it still gets worse. What do we have next? I think it was some bullshit.
Jericho's still looking for his list.
That's right.
Then you had what's his name? Ryan Ward. Right? Wasn't it Ryan Ward?
Ryan Ward,
points Jericho in the right direction. Yeah, the writer. Yeah. He's a Raw writer. And he got a big kiss on the head from Jericho. Ryan Ward must be like 4'10".
so whenever he tried, whenever he tried to kiss the women's ass in NXT at the Performance Center, he had to get up on a step stool.
Yeah, basically, yeah, exactly. It was quite the effort. Kudos. Jericho walks over, sees that Braun, the abominable Strowman, is holding the list. He tells Jericho he has to say please, and then gives him the list back. A not so nice way. Strowman complains that Sami Zayn isn't on the list and walks off.
Yep.
Jericho corrects him and says Zayn's on page 4, and then adds Strowman to the list for touching his personal property. Please tell me this is not leading to a Braun the Abominable Strowman versus Chris Jericho feud.
No, it cannot. But you know what? There was something that Braun did have happen to him.
You just made the list.
Yep. Never gets old. No, it's not going to happen. Him and Sammy will feud for a month and a half, and that's it. So he finds the list. It's back.
He's got the list, and then we get Golden Truth versus the Shining Stars.
Yeah,
Mark Henry and Titus O'Neil in their respective corners.
I didn't watch it. I fast forwarded again. I don't care.
Fast forwarded this too. I mean,
we don't care. We don't
the shits.
We don't fucking care at all. You can't make us care. No one cares. Stop it. Just stop.
And the best part of this whole thing was that Titus botched a spot. I mean, go figure. Is this really? I mean, you could have predicted this without watching it. But him and Mark Henry are arguing, and he gets kind of like pushed by Mark Henry, and he's supposed to go back and knock off his buddies there off the ropes, the Shining Stars, and instead he doesn't, and so he counteracts it by jumping backwards up onto the apron, away from Mark Henry, knocking the Shining Stars off. It was really awkward. It was obviously a major botch because he didn't even come close to knocking them off, and then he just jumps up onto the apron and knocks them off, which nobody forced him to do. Very weird. Titus is another one. He's so goddamn bad.
Yep, he needs to go build the brand somewhere else.
The whole thing is so bad. He's building a loser brand, and he did it again. A total loser, and Golden Truth beats the Shining Stars, and nobody cared.
Nope, nobody at all. So what do we have next?
Mick Foley in the ring, cutting a promo about the boogeyman that is Hell in a Cell, letting them know how dangerous it is.
You know what, though?
I thought Mick, I thought
this was awesome. This was. I loved it.
Well, here's what I liked. Here's what I didn't. Okay. I liked Mick Foley here. Why? Because this was something he is truly passionate about. Yes, he loves the women's wrestling, and yes, he's a big part of the Hell in a Cell match that they're going to be in. Mm-hmm. So I thought Mick, when he gets in those circumstances where it's not phony, he still can nail these lines. I thought he nailed it.
Yep.
It was great. Great stuff from Mick Foley. Okay?
When he's not given a script to add to that.
Exactly. Sasha and Charlotte, not so much. I hated it. Everything they did, I hated.
I thought Charlotte was fantastic. Sasha's garbage.
I didn't.
What? Oh, I love Charlotte's her diction, like the way she talks down to people. See, I love that. That to me is perfect. Whenever she's like, "Really, Sasha? How often have you been injured this year?" Twice. I lost count. I did laugh. I thought it was so funny.
And I'm beginning to think Sasha suffers from some sort of a delusional disorder.
What do you mean? Like kayfabe or
And maybe
shit?
and I think her fans do too, because she's just not that good. I mean, I'm watching her in these big programs, and it's just she's overrated.
I think she's a great in-ring technician. She can
Sure, she's good in ring. She's injury prone, but she's also, I mean, the other stuff, it's like, why is she a babyface? You know, she comes off as obnoxious, cunty. I mean,
It's true. It is
I mean,
though.
really, think about it.
Those two need a different proper noun than sweetheart. For fuck's sake, say something else.
Yes.
Really?
So cringy.
Really? Sweetheart? Stop it. For the love of God.
Yeah, I thought that was so cringy, because this is supposed to be such an important match, such a dangerous physical match, and you're talking like high school girls who are
Sweetheart?
being passive aggressive towards each other. It didn't match the intensity of what was coming to me at all.
Sweetheart? Let me see if I can pull.
I just hope Charlotte doesn't do a dive. I mean, if this broad does a dive off the cage, she's going to kill herself.
Yeah,
she hasn't landed a single fucking dive in her entire WWE career. Woo! It's going to get ugly.
Hold on, let me play some highlights of the that segment, because honestly, yeah, and you're right. Mick stole the fucking show there. He was on point, emotional, and he's passionate, as you said. Charlotte, I thought was good. You don't. That's fair. Sasha, we both thought was horrible. We're both right. Let me get past this advertisement, because AdBlock doesn't count on mobile devices. Overall, it did the job. It built their match. It got people excited, and that's all you have to do.
Triple main event, Johnny. It's the triple main event.
It's the triple main event. Fuck this shit.
Yes. In Boston, which means that Charlotte's going to squash her.
Once you sign on the dotted line, there is no turning back.
Here's a few minutes worth.
Pick, I've never been more ready in my life.
Really, Sasha? Sweetheart?
Where do I sign so the title can come home to where it belongs? On the shoulder of the Queen.
See, I like Charlotte.
Mick, give me the contract.
And Charlotte's gorgeous, too.
Earth to Mick, I know you're missing an ear, but I said hand me the contract.
I hear you, Charlotte. But now it's time that you, both of you, hear me. Because I don't think you know what you're getting yourselves involved in when you step inside Hell in a Cell.
Listen, Mick, I am a student of the game. I have studied every single Hell in a Cell match on the WWE Network.
Did
so
you?
Trust me. I know what I'm getting myself in.
See how obnoxious she comes off like?
With all due respect,
Even her cadence, her tone is just fucking...
I have no idea
It's
what's in
obnoxious.
store for you. It is not just steel. It's more than the sum of its parts. It's a living, breathing entity, but it's got no soul. It's got no heart and no conscience, and it will haunt your days. It will keep you awake at night. And trust me, just when you think you're over it for good, it will sneak up behind you. It will stop you dead in your tracks. It will make you cry like
And it will make you forget your scripted lines on Raw.
Mick, and you, most importantly, listen to me. I have conquered everything that I have ever faced, and I was the first woman to put her hands on that title. And just because some entitled second-rate talent holds it, it will come back to me.
Almost over.
Because I am the only reason that title means anything.
Not wrong. Not at all.
And I will go to hell and back and risk it all to win it back. You are no queen. Because there is no queen in the WWE. but there is a boss.
Oh, the boss.
And you may have been the first, but I am going to go down as the greatest women's champion of all time. I understand that the hell in a cell may change my life, and I understand that I may have to crawl up that ramp, broken.
This is where it gets really good.
But listen to me. None of that matters, because the only thing that matters is this WWE Women's Championship, and I am not afraid to step inside that hell in a cell with you, sweetheart.
There it is.
Sweetheart.
Neither am I, big bad boss.
Well, you should be. You both should be. Look at me. Look at me and understand the future you might be looking.
If you can even crawl, how many times have you been injured? Yeah. So as you can see,
I just have to say that should have been Bailey. Bailey should be in Sasha's place right now.
I can agree. So you want Sasha to lose at arm wrestling matches to Dana Brooke?
Yes, I do.
What about Sasha versus
NXT?
What about Sasha versus Summer Rae in a leg wrestling match?
They could do the scissors.
Oh, that's messed up.
Put them in the figure 8. Figure 12.
Oh, face fucker!
Oh my god.
So, what happened next?
Okay, so next we had a cruiserweight debacle.
Oh, I fast forwarded that too.
And why wouldn't you? There's no stories. There's no characters. You've got Rich Swann
who dances
defeating the #1 contender Brian Kendrick in the Go Home show.
Yeah.
Where a pay-per-view is going to feature Brian Kendrick facing TJ Perkins for the championship of the Cruiserweight division. But yet you book Rich Swann to beat Brian Kendrick clean.
Isn't that interesting?
It's fucking retarded.
Yeah.
And it gets even better. Later in the show, it gets even better. What a disaster this Cruiserweight division is.
It is. Oh, but hey, according to my wrestling buddies, the Cruiserweights have a story. They just haven't told it yet. Yeah, it's been a month and a half. Nothing's been told. What are they waiting for? It's one of them to die first.
That's like saying I have a 2-foot cock. It just hasn't grown yet.
Oh boy! Hey, maybe they can go.
I've got another foot to go. The last foot is a bitch.
Maybe they can go to TNA. They can get over there. If they have a show.
Well, that's where TJ Perkins came from. He came from TNA.
I know he was manic.
He was manic.
Anyway, yeah.
Or was that Dixie? Dixie's manic. Okay. We've got Kevin Owens doing an interview. He says tonight's match won't hurt his friendship with Chris Jericho. He'll break Rollins to soften him up for his match at Hell in a Cell on Sunday, where he'll put Rollins through hell.
They sure did, didn't they?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they certainly... the show went to hell.
It really did.
Okay, Sami Zayn versus Braun the Abominable Strowman.
This makes me sad.
A no contest.
Yep.
Strowman wants real competition, and Sami Zayn isn't it. He walks past Sami, addresses Mick Foley. Sami attacks him from behind. Strowman turns around, across the face, and rolls to the outside. Strowman chases him around the ring. Strowman follows him and proceeds to just destroy Sami Zayn. Strowman walks to the back as Sami Zayn climbs back in the ring and stares him down. And we're going to see a match that I don't want to see, so I will probably fast forward the match when it happens.
Yep, me too. At Hell in a Cell this coming Sunday.
Brian Kendrick approaches TJ Perkins in the locker room and says he needs his help. He's distraught. He needs to win on Sunday to feed his family. and he needs Perkins to let him win in their match. Kendrick cites the time that he helped Perkins and appears to be crying Cruiserweight Championship belt, leaving you with the hook of the championship match at a pay-per-view of, will the champion allow the challenger to beat him intentionally? What a fucking hook for a championship and a new division.
Yeah.
Way to take it seriously.
Yeah, that's right, baby. I got nothing.
Such an important value championship that the whole story now about the match and the title is, will he just throw it and let Kendrick beat him?
So
okay, that's sure to get people to watch.
It's riveting. It's riveting. But who cares?
Who cares is right. Paul Heyman backstage. Getting Brock Lesnar. The Beast is up next. Lesnar out to the ring, accompanied by Paul Heyman, who gets to the mic for his floppiest promo to date.
You want
to desperately tries to get Goldberg involved. And that the Goldberg chants are starting to piss off Brock. There are no fucking Goldberg chants. Instead, the crowd chants Suplex City and Goldberg sucks, which gets an audible, or I guess a visual smile from Brock Lesnar as this is going on.
Breaking kayfabe there, bud.
The segment was such a disaster that Vince McMahon cuts the segment early. Lesnar's music just hits out of the blue, and they leave the ring. This was a fucking disaster.
Well, and it goes back to simple logic, everybody, and I hope you can follow along. Goldberg's the heel. Goldberg's the babyface. Brock Lesnar is the heel. You have the heel who kind of works as a tweener come in his own hometown, and you try to get him over as a heel. Listen, I don't care if you're fucking John Cena against CM Punk in Chicago. That would, I came up with that on the spot. Let's say Cena's the babyface and CM Punk's the heel. Are you and it actually happened? Are you seriously going to get CM Punk over as a heel in his own home fucking town against someone you may like or don't like? Go home and just put a pillow over your face. For really?
And suffocate yourself.
I mean, don't kill yourself. That's extreme. But don't do what Brad says. It just doesn't make any sense. And then,
if you think that's a good idea, maybe you should suffocate yourself.
The point being is that it's just awful and it is not logical. They don't know what logic is. They don't know what common sense is. They're all idiots. Idiots.
And it gets even better, folks, because at the Survivor Series, which they announced officially on social media.
On Twitter!
Fucking morons.
Why couldn't you announce that on the show? Wait till next week. We already know what's happening anyway. What's the point? Twitter.
So you have Survivor Series, and the match is going to be held in Toronto, and Brock Lesnar is now a Canadian citizen and lives in Canada.
But
so the babyface is going to now be going against the guy in his home country. So what you're going to have potentially is a repeat of Raw, where the fans shit all over the babyface Goldberg and his glorious return.
Well, don't forget that Goldberg ended Bret Hart's career. Remember?
And Bret Hart is from
Canada,
Alberta, Canada,
which isn't far from
this. Has the potential to be, in my opinion, a disaster.
Yep. That's that. We did it.
Okay. Chris Jericho and Kevin Owens meet up to talk about their upcoming triple threat match. Jericho tells Owens he would never be on the list. No matter what happens tonight, they're still friends. Then we have Seth Rollins defeating Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho. John,
at the same time,
tell me what you thought about this match, and in particular, the ending.
The match was awful. The ending was awful. Seth Rollins rolled them up and pinned them at the same time.
He fucking buried him.
but Seth's gonna lose on Sundays.
What a shit show! This title means less than a fucking $10 toy at Toys R Us. Holy shit.
Oh, hello, darkness, my old friend. Won't you like to meet me again? Oh, it's so bad.
Oh my god. Just give Jericho the title and move them back to the mid-card.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, so that was the thing that I was so pissed off about. Not only did Jericho and Owens lose at the same time via roll-up after mutilating Rollins the entire match, but they announced a marquee match like Goldberg and Brock Lesnar on Twitter, not even on a show. Because why?
Maybe they were afraid the fans would boo that too.
Probably. Well, you know what? Do we have ratings for Raw and SmackDown?
The ratings are in. They sucked.
James Caldwell, my ratings confidant, has not tweeted in like 3 weeks.
Yeah, he's no longer with the PW Torch.
Aw, damn it. I like James Caldwell. He was a nice guy.
I used to get my ratings from him on Twitter, and now I don't, because he is out of the wrestling world, and I don't even think he's tweeted, like you said, in weeks.
All right, so, what? All right. Are you kidding me? Oh, never mind. All right, so the Goldberg show had 3.13 million people on average, right? Per week or per that night, those 3 hours. Despite Brock Lesnar's return and a full week of promotion for multiple matches that didn't do anything, the show drew 2.81 million viewers for all 3 hours. No single hour cracked the 3 million mark. And hour three did 2.66 million.
Not only did I know that they wouldn't get a huge ratings increase from Goldberg and Brock, but the very slight increase they did have, very slight, they put on a show that was the shits. They did nothing with it to capitalize. So they're back to where they are. And they continue to try these Band-Aid fixes to boost ratings and the 40, 50-year-old legends. And but at the end of the day, it should be a young guy who's full-time on the roster going over Goldberg, not Brock Lesnar. It's just common logic.
Yeah.
But they don't have a brain. If I only had a brain. The Wizard of Oz.
SmackDown's rating... You're right. SmackDown's rating, despite there being World Series Game 1 and the opening of the NBA season, all Raw has to compete against is Monday Night Football. That's it. I think that's it. At least that is big in magnitude. SmackDown still drew a 2.127 million people with all that competition. That's pretty damn good. And this is from Cage Side Seats. SmackDown was 8th on cable, thanks to 2 nationally televised basketball games that then factor in that 19 million people were watching the World Series Game 1. So
yeah, it was the start of the NBA season. Then you had the World Series.
Yeah, and they still got over 2 million. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that.
We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens if it climbs back up next week. But SmackDown, we had Bray Wyatt defeat Randy Orton.
But there was
you
a
had
twist.
Luke Harper get involved. You had Randy Orton come out, and then we had the old swerve. I swerve jaw. Randy Orton hits the RKO on Kane, allowing Bray Wyatt to get the victory. Ooh.
Interesting. You like that? Hey, it's a poll.
Something different.
It happens next week. Yeah, it's good.
Renee Young in the ring to welcome back your baby girl, Becky Lynch.
Love her. She's great. Alexa's a close 2.
And Alexa is a female superstar heel, and as you know, her presentation, her appearance, her mic work, I wouldn't say her ring work, but her mic work is very good for a female superstar. I mean, she's one of the best easily already.
Yep.
On the mic on Raw or SmackDown. And Alexa sends off Renee and cuts a promo on Becky. They start brawling. Alexa hits the DDT on Becky, then spray paints a stripe down her back because she is a chicken, a coward.
Like that.
And they have a match coming up. And yeah, it's a shame we had the whole untimely deal with Becky, but this should be good. They've been able to kind of stretch this out and give it some time. Rather than having to rush it, do a few weeks and then rush to a pay-per-view. So that's not the worst thing in the world either.
No. And you kind of hit the nail on the head. The fact that they were able to keep that going with Becky not on the show for 3 weeks, not so bad.
Nope. You had the Hype Bros defeat the Ascension, winner part of the Survivor Series Raw and SmackDown match. It was a typical average tag team match. It was what it was. The Hype Bros really do need at least an alteration to the gimmick, if not a full change.
Yeah, they're boring.
They got to do something about that.
Very, very boring.
So, yeah.
What did you think?
It's a shame too, because
it is. Keep going. I'm not important.
Mojo I'm just saying Mojo for what he is a real big guy. He's very athletic. You have the Ascension, and Connor is huge in person.
Massive.
So, I mean, they really could do something with these guys. And so it is what it is. Anyway, what do I think about what?
Charlotte getting her name changed.
What?
Yeah, Charlotte is no longer Charlotte anymore. You're surprised.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so they changed her on-screen name from Charlotte to Charlotte Flair.
Did they really?
Yep. It's official.
Okay. So is Ric Flair coming back into the picture?
I don't know. Maybe.
So they've decided to go against the old. We're not, because I mean they made a decision to give it some space, her and Pops, so that they make it look like they've gone back to the original formula. We'll see.
Yep. Yeah. Anyway, yeah.
Worked out great for David Flair.
Oh no, too soon
in the WCW.
Yeah.
Randy Orton backstage being interviewed about RKO and Kane, he says, if you can't beat him, join him. So the hook coming up as we go into SmackDown for next week, has Randy Orton actually joined the Wyatts, or is this all a big plan to surprise Bray Wyatt and attack him and continue the feud?
It's a hook. That's what's most important.
Yep.
That's what's
Nikki
most
Bella
important.
Defeated Natalya.
Ugh.
Winner would be the captain of the women's match Raw versus SmackDown at Survivor Series. After the match, Carmella comes out and lays out Nikki Bella, continuing their feud.
Good? Yes. Sure. At least they're trying.
Yeah.
At least they're
with
trying.
The Spirit Squad
to
address the state of the IC.
Are you sick?
They get in the
ring. I'm interrupting you. I don't care. It's a Spirit Squad, damn it. I'm sick of them. I'm done. They're boring now. They're boring. Miz is great. Ziggler's great. Spirit Squad, why? That was one cool thing for one night only. And the match that happened. That's it. I'm done.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I think they had something great for one night, but I think it's a big mistake to keep using them. Okay. I really do.
Yeah. For sure.
I mean, the Miz needs to be, with Maurice and nobody else. And I've heard rumors recently that they're talking about possibly breaking those two up. And what a huge mistake that would be.
Big time.
Like, you get something working, and then you so quickly want to fuck it up. Just leave it alone.
Honestly, though, I'll believe it when I see it, though. Just give us some time.
So Ziggler interrupts. And they're going to attack Ziggler 3-on-1 when Heath Slater and Rhino come out to save the day. And it leads to a match.
Yeah.
Heath Slater and Rhino defeat the Spirit Squad. Rhino hits the old spear or the gore. I guess the spear is what Goldberg does or did 20 years ago. On Mikey for the win.
Gore!
S-U-C-K-S. Sucks.
What's wrong with
That's
Rhino?
a little male cheer for you. No, nothing's wrong with I think nothing's wrong with Rhino. I think he's great in the role. I'm referring to the male cheerleader team of Mikey and Kenny, the Spirit Squad.
Yeah, I'm done. Just done.
Time to let him go.
You're right. Oh, hey,
Up
Paul
next-
Heyman. Paul Heyman took a shot at his own promo. Do you see that?
No.
Yeah. So ESPN, who is the worst wrestling, whatever they are of all time, they're worse. They're worse than Voices of Wrestling or whatever the hell you used to write for. They wrote an article.
And that's hard that's hard to do, but you're right. But I think you're right.
I think that so. The article name is Paul Heyman defines the art of the wrestling promo. Paul Heyman tweeted, "Oh, come on." Paul Heyman tweeted back at them, "Thank God the reporters at ESPN didn't see my promo last night or they'd pull the story immediately."
Yeah.
Hey, at least he understands.
Hiroshima.
Oh. Yeah. All right.
Get some beat for that one, maybe. Okay.
SmackDown.
James Ellsworth.
Yeah.
Sulking backstage because big old meanie pants Dino won't let him be in his corner. Dean feels guilty, changes his mind, says, "Sure, you can come on out." Ellsworth is happy, but later Dino would regret the decision.
Oh, he would. Tell him why.
Yes. Ambrose goes for dirty deed. Styles gets out, hits the Pele kick. A bunch of flippity-doos, reversals. Okay, no flippity-doos. Just a good match.
Good. No, wait. You can't have a good match without a flippity-do or 7.
I know. The Young Bucks, goddamn, they're like the best. The Meltzer driver. It's a 5 out of 5 stars.
Well, you know what? Poor Meltzer. Did you see what happened to his mom? She had a stroke Monday night, so prayers out to the Meltzer family. That does suck. So
that was just from watching the Braun Strowman segment.
Hey, that's malpractice. You can sue. So Meltzer, if you're listening, get your lawyer out.
Oh, sorry to hear that. That's sad, obviously.
Yeah.
So Ellsworth is pumped up because AJ's thrown outside. AJ had attacked him a few minutes ago. And Ellsworth gets a little pumped up, brother, hulked up.
No!
He hits the no chin music on AJ Styles at ringside in front of the referee, costing Ambrose the match. AJ Styles wins by DQ. Ambrose loses his opportunity to face AJ Styles for the title at Survivor Series. And that's how it goes off here.
Ellsworth, do you know what happens whenever he does something like that? You want to know what happens? Huh?
Well, he's got to just keep his chin up. Oh, wait, he doesn't have one.
But there something happens when you interrupt in a match that's that good.
What is it? Tell me, what is it?
You just made the list.
Oh, I popped hard for that.
Can't help it, just can't. But at least SmackDown in its core is creative. They do things differently. They are not afraid to go outside the box or Lyndon McMahon's box, if you will. So,
or eat the box.
Or eat the box. Yeah, they're allowing themselves to do more with what they have, and that's the key. Before we sign off tonight, is I want everyone to know that with a roster that's less than what was given to the other brand, with one less hour, they do so much more. Nearly every single wrestler they have on that roster, except for Kurt Hawkins, is utilized properly. Swagger to it, but yeah, everyone has made an impact. Everybody on the roster. Not just AJ and Alexa or Randy and Becky. They're all used in whatever way they want to be with only 2 hours. So again, it's and by the way, Raw might get a Talking Smack like TV show for fuck's sake. No.
Yeah, of course, because everything SmackDown does well, Raw has to have it because Raw has to be the A show and everybody has to know it.
Yeah, that's right.
Unbelievable the way. I mean, one thing that stood out to me in SmackDown was there was several advertisements for the Raw branded show. Several advertisements for Raw during SmackDown, which you never see the other way around. But it was basically a Raw advertisement. It was fucking retarded. So
well, you know why?
Well, yeah, they want to get their ratings up. They want to. It's like I just don't get it. They treat Raw like the A show. They treat SmackDown like the B show, and then that's the results they get. Ugh. I mean, come on. It's just brainless. Okay, my big complaint about SmackDown, and you gracefully reminded me, is Baron Corbin was not on the show. I was fired up about that. I'm sure you saw it on the Twitter. But how do you have a guy being squashing Jack Swagger? He's squashing everybody. He's doing well. He's got momentum. Okay, he gets on Talking Smack and delivers a hot fire shoot promo. It was great on Daniel Bryan.
I heard about it. Yeah,
and he leaves it off with "What to do for me," and Bryan's like, "I got something for you, all right." And literally the next show, he's not mentioned. He's not on TV. It makes no fucking sense. And why squash the momentum? Even if you don't have him in a match, that's okay. Mention him. Put him in a backstage segment. Give him an interview. Do something.
Well, you know, it's not over though, because they can do something next week. Be like, and have Bryan backstage, and have Corbin come out and like have him go through the back. Where's Daniel? Where's Bryan? Where's Dan? Like, have it last for 2 commercial breaks, not in a row, but you know, segmented through the show. It's like, I told you to do something for me, and that way that it's
part of the story.
Yeah. So I think that would work.
That's absolutely a way they could recover from the situation. I hope they do that. I'm not sure they will. But you're right. Good point. So that was SmackDown in a nutshell. They continue to do more with less.
Yeah. Amazing.
Suck. And TNA and Billy Corgan are about to have a legal lockdown match, Team Billy versus Team Dixie, for ownership of TNA on the line.
And then you have Flow Sports partnering up with WWN Live to live stream shows and pay-per-views, which is pretty cool.
And if you're listening to this podcast as we record it on a Wednesday night, a ruling on Billy versus TNA is going to be made on Monday by the judge. So this may have already come out, but
in good old Tennessee,
Basically, the documents released, Dixie is being accused of frauding him and hiding information and sneaking behind his back and talking to WWE about a sale. It sounds very scandalous, and it sounds like a lot of the same shit we've heard for years about Dixie and TNA.
Could Dixie go to jail? Honestly. Or is that too extreme?
I don't think she'll go to jail. But it could be like a money fine, or she could lose the company. Here's basically what it sounds like to me is Billy's fighting it. He wants control of the entire company because she allegedly violated their agreement. Well, if that happens, Billy Corgan would have complete ownership of the company. She would be gone, and he would rebrand the company, new name, etc.
Mm-hmm.
If he loses, and she says the agreement they had, her attorney says that agreement was invalid, it's not legal anyway, it doesn't hold up, and she wants to pay off the amount she owes to him, and then basically it sounds like she would sell to WWE.
Monday's going to be a big day indeed. Yeah. But before we get off, we have a late edition of the show. We have a run-in. Dean. So the thing with Dean is he gets busy. He gets real busy, and then he's too busy running somewhere else. But he stopped. He stopped to record and run through us instead. I love doing that every week. It's kind of fun for me. So what Dean literally just told me over Facebook message right now is that this is the list of Dean. And Brad, something's in there for you near the end.
Oh, boy.
And it's not Hulk Hogan related, by the way. I swear. All right, here's Dean. Let him run through you.
This week's run-in is the list of Dean. That's right. I'm making my list. Sasha Banks, Charlotte, Mick Foley, you three, and the Hell in a Cell are on the list.
Oh, stop it. You're
Mick
wrong.
Foley comes out and tries to encapsulate the danger of Hell in a Cell. And what do Sasha and Charlotte do? We're making history, sweetheart.
Okay, it's not wrong.
Sweetheart is like Hulk Hogan's brother in this rivalry.
Oh.
By the way, rivalry is on the list. It's a feud. Sasha, still, she can go in the ring. I love watching her in the ring. Girl can't cut a promo yet. She just can't. Charlotte's a better heel promo, but she
Oh, see what happens when you're on your phone? Damn it.
completely no-sold everything Sasha was saying. And they both no-sold
I agree.
what Mick was saying. And it goes back to the foundation of the whole thing, that this is not the right place and time for this match to be at Hell in a Cell. I'm not saying Sasha and Charlotte shouldn't be at Hell in a Cell, but they haven't built it up enough to be a blood rivalry feud, whatever you want to call it, Vince.
Amen.
Blood feud to make it mean something to be in Hell in a Cell. Just to be history, not enough. All four on the list. Also on the list, Brad. You're on the list.
Oh,
Baron Corbin. You're a Baron Corbin guy?
Uh-oh.
Really? I'll tell you something, though. I said this to John last week. The interest level for Baron Corbin for me was an absolute zero until Talking Smack, when he actually kind of made something of himself. He made a showing for himself. He made himself interesting. And then he wasn't on SmackDown this week. Okay.
Yep.
There is hope for Baron Corbin, Brad. So you're kind of on the list, maybe in all small letters. The primary person on the list of Dean this week is Vincent Kennedy McMahon. These goddamn fans and hit Brock's music. Vince did not get the reaction that he wanted out of a crowd, so he cut a promo short. Now, granted, I think he had to cut the promo short for the first time that I've ever seen. Paul Heyman did not know what to do. He tried everything to get people to chant Goldberg. He tried to get everybody to be for Goldberg and to boo Brock Lesnar. God bless his soul. He tried. The crowd wasn't having it. Vince, you know what you did? You put, essentially, Bret Hart in Canada and said, hey, let's get him booed. Not happening. Brock Lesnar in Minnesota. Vince, for God's sake, would you wake the fuck up if you think you're in tune with the fans and this bothers you? You think you're really in tune. Vince McMahon, you are at the top of the list, and it is officially time for you to step down. That's the list of Dean on the weekly run-in, brother.
Guess what, Brad? Guess what?
You just made the list.
I'm actually popping huge for that because I've made my first list. Yeah, no, he makes a lot of great points. I mean, Sasha, Charlotte, Mick, the Hell in a Cell. We've talked about this, I think, last week.
Yeah.
How this was like talking about history rather than, you know, it being just about the championship and, you know, wanting to just hurt the other person, which is a huge mistake. And anytime you have a match, it's like it shouldn't be about, oh, it's because we're two women doing it. I mean, that's kind of like voting for have a vagina rather than, you know, the actual good reasons. And I'll let you figure out what that means. But
I know what that means.
I think, look, it should have been about the title, and it was and I completely agreed with his assessments of Sasha and Charlotte. I thought Mick was great, of course, as I said. And I thought this match, as I said on this podcast last week, is not worthy of Hell in a Cell. I talked about Baron Corbin just earlier, right before we played this, how he did this great thing on Talking Smack, and he squashed Jack Swagger, and then they don't have him on the show. But I'm glad that he's seeing now Corbin. That's good. He's legit, and I think when they kind of give him the ball more, we're going to see a lot of good stuff. Yeah, the Vince stuff, yeah, absolutely right. Here's where they made a mistake. Here's where I thought, if they're going to commit to doing this, and I don't think they should have, I would not have done it because, as he said, it was just illogical.
It was.
But how about having a Plant fan who is a Goldberg fan in the crowd and have Brock Lesnar pull him out and kick his ass? I mean, there's some creative things they could have done, but yeah, Paul Heyman was drowning and waving the white flag, and Vince pulled the segment and blew a gasket.
And you know that when Paul Heyman can't save something, it cannot be saved because he's the best they have. He might be the best.
Oh yeah, ever. He tried every con man trick in the book. Nothing was working.
Yeah, and you know who taught? I mean, you know who taught Paul Heyman promos? That's Dusty Rhodes. So. I don't know, man. I don't know. All right, well, I mean, that's all we really got. Let's do some predictions for Hell in a Cell. Let's start off with the latest match to be announced, and that was Dana Brooke versus Bayley. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but I don't care. I don't care at all. I want it to just end forever and ever and ever. Amen. I have Bayley, I guess, because wins don't matter.
I have no desire to see this feud, match, rivalry, whatever you want to call it, whatsoever. I'm going to pick Bayley, but it's like, she's lost every match basically except for this one, so who really cares?
Yeah, there is a 6-man cruiserweight tag, I think. It's the kickoff show, so I don't care. Enzo Amore and Big Cass versus The Club. Who cares?
I think
Enzo Cass.
I don't know.
Enzo Cass.
Enzo and Cass. I don't know. The club never wins. The Gallows and Anderson never win.
Nope.
I don't think it's going to matter, right? They're not doing anything with either team.
No, I'll take Enzo Cass. What about you, Enzo Cass? Is that we're unanimous once again?
Yeah, that's what
okay.
We'll go with.
Brian Kendrick versus T.J. Perkins. Kendrick, because they like to flip-flop titles.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going to go with Brian Kendrick as well.
Yeah. In a match that should actually have a great story, but it doesn't. They're on the 10 o'clock hour anyway with purple bullshit. Raw Tag Team titles, Cesaro, Sheamus versus The New Day. The New Day. Not even close.
Oh, it's not. They don't even have a shot to lose this.
Nope.
New Day.
Nope. Hey, it's going to be the free bird rule. Look at Xavier will get involved in that one. All right, one of the 3 main events. Can we talk about real quick, because we only have the 3 HIAC matches left. Whose bright idea was it to say that there's triple main event? No, it's not. No, it's not. A main event is a main event, not main events plural. It's one thing, not more than one. How hard is that to comprehend? And that's a Vince thing. I know it is. Doesn't make sense.
He's doing it because he didn't want to put them in the actual main event.
Yes.
Foley stepped on his dick by announcing it on social media when it wasn't confirmed. And so Vince was backed into a corner, and Vince didn't want to put him on his main event. So what did he do? He announced, we'll have a triple main event. Well, sure, Vince. How about every match is the main event? Whatever, right? Who cares?
So do you remember the whenever Punk did his shoot interview with Colt Cabana, and he was talking about the WrestleMania 29 match against Taker, in which that should have closed the show.
It was the best match on the card by far. It was the most meaningful. It should have closed the show. I agree.
Yeah, instead of Rock Cena for the title. Who do you think was going to win? Anyway. And so Punk's like, I should be paid like a main eventer. I wrestled my ass off. But then Triple H is like, oh, you were the main event. He's like, no, I'm not. Don't treat me like a child.
No, it's like, yeah, at WrestleMania when he was the champion. Remember, I think it was 28. He was WWE champion.
Yeah, him and
wrestled
Chris
essentially in a mid-card spot against Chris Jericho. I was there live.
You were
CM Punk. I was a big Punk fan. Yeah, I was there live in Miami, and I watched. Instead, it was Rock and Cena main eventing, and I watched CM Punk as the champion in the mid-card.
Yeah, how about that, right? So no, there was no 3 main events, you fucking idiots. There's 1 main event. 1. Count them 1. And it's whatever's last. All right? All right, so let's start with
absolutely
let's start with the first Hell in a Cell match main event. Rusev and Reigns for the US title. Roman Reigns wins.
I don't even think that's questionable. Roman Reigns wins.
Yeah. Are they going to bleed? I bet you this match bleeds.
I don't know. I mean, that's the great trick of these Hell in a Cell matches, right? I mean, how do you sell a Hell in a Cell match when you're not allowed to bleed or, have excessive violence? It's just kind of a stupid concept. So don't even do the match if you can't make it realistic.
Yeah. So Reigns.
Good. I don't think they will.
Nope. Oh, well, we'll find out. All right, the second main event. Hell in a Cell match. Charlotte, Sasha Banks. Sasha's gonna win, but
you think they'll bleed?
Yes, I do. I bet you the compromise. Charlotte wanted to do a moonsault off the top of the cell because she's out of her fucking mind. I bet Vince let him bleed. So. I bet that was the big compromise backstage.
That'll be very interesting.
If Charlotte,
yeah, I think, I don't know. I guess Sasha wins. It's hard to say. I mean, she's in her hometown where they love to have people lose, and I just don't feel like they think Sasha is the face of the division. I feel like they think Sasha or Charlotte is. So I don't know. I think it could go either way.
Well, we're gonna find out either way, and I swear, if Charlotte goes up to the top of the cell, I'm turning off the television. I don't want to see someone die yet.
Yeah, I mean, I think that she can't even do it off the top rope in a regular match. I mean, that would be a disaster.
Okay, in a Hell in a Cell, like, how would you dive? You have to like break out of the cell. So. Right? Isn't that the only way to do it?
Yeah, I mean, she obviously could kind of crawl up like a spider monkey up the cage and kind of bounce off of it. Or, she could break a hole through the cage. I mean, there's not a lot of ways to do it. I just, I don't want to see someone get hurt with a stupid stunt, right? Because that's what it is.
Yeah.
When it's not even part of a story that's meaningful. There's no reason she should be doing that. This is not a heated feud where it's a blood feud. It's down to the end, and they both want to win so bad. And this is all about, we've got vaginas. We're in the main event in a Hell in a Cell match. Look at us. We're so special. This justifies
unfortunately.
That. And the risk versus reward getting hurt. I don't think they should do it.
Me neither. I don't either. Last but not least, Kevin Owens versus Seth Rollins with Chris Jericho somehow going to get interrupted. Kevin Owens wins, even though Seth pinned him and Jericho at the same time on Raw. Because that's their booking logic. Wow, what else would they do?
I agree. Yeah. I think Kevin Owens wins, and we continue having the most boring championship feud in a long time on Raw. I mean, these two look like they belong in the mid-card right now. It's just boring, and it's just devalued the title completely.
It's unfortunate. So right before we go and do our last words, TNA had to cancel Total Nonstop Deletion. Do you see that?
Yeah, they were going to tape it at the beginning of November, and they don't have the money, so they've had to delete that. Delete.
What a shame. What a shame. Oh, well, bring it to...
Well, the shame is they finally got someone trying something different, wacky or whatever, and they can't even afford to do it. I mean, the whole show is a fucking disaster. It sucks. I can't watch it. It's just terrible. It's just terrible.
All right. Well, any final... Oh, where can we find you on the Twitter machine? Can't forget.
At the VOTV podcast. Follow our official podcast Twitter account. And I may follow you back. I probably will, actually, unless you don't tweet or you sound like a dick.
Well, you can follow me, Johnfish Gaming on Twitter, Wrestling News Hub on Facebook, and Johnfish3 on Twitch.tv. Any final words before Hell in a Cell on Sunday at 8 p.m.?
Dick's out for Harambe. And you just made the list.
Have a good weekend, everybody. And if you don't, you want to know what's going to happen?
You just made the list.
See you all next week.
Peace.